Yeah, we showed that. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it looked pretty violent and visually. Sure, I shot pictures of what they did to the door. So you were in the trailer.
I was inside the trailer.
Yeah, that would have been.
I was trying to come out. Basically, I was hollering from the outside because the alarming sound. I was saying, "Hello, I want out. Hello, please." Who is that on the other side? I was asleep for many hours because we had many days running. There's 60 days plus of surveying and educating people, raising awareness about water is life, and that we have only 2 aquifers that we're relying on right now for millions and millions of animals and people. And one of them is sincerely at risk right now by way of Kinder Morgan ramming their lines through. I, as a Coast Salish woman, I'm unseated. We're at the treaty table, but all this development keeps going on without our consent or our say. And today,
We'll get this. Do you mind? It's kind of awkward, but
yeah.
dropping it
Hello?
Yeah, so my children know that Canada is constantly
Oh yeah, okay, I'm coming out now.
abusing.
Okay.
I can barely lift my arms.
What did you get? You got. Did they carry you out?
Oh yeah, I mean there's one teeny little bruise right there, but I'm sure I'm bruised on my hips and my back. It's not easy to move around. When I was at Camp Cloud, I was there healthy. And the way the police pulled me out, I'm not as well as I was before. I've dealt with shell shock from excessive police force in the past. And this is the continuation. First off, I'd like to say that...
Well, he hasn't started yet.
Oh, no, but I'm still, kind of framing...
Is that the dude, Jane?
Am I in the way? Out there?
Oh, no, it's fine.
Do I help throwing it in?
Yeah.
Layla, do you want to help me?
Yeah, I think everybody...
No, it's all good.
Are you sure?
It's all, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's my favorite pastime, cleaning up the trash.
So the trash from the camp, you guys take it out and then hire someone to come and collect?
No, we
No,
do
this is
ourselves.
just her. This is just a
I even was cleaning the city roads, and then I just went and dropped the bill off.
Huh.
They're not taking care of the land, really, the city of Burnaby. There's a lot of places that need attention, and so.
So a shout out for Laughing Bean Coffee.
Excuse me.
That's the one right at Hastings near Nanaimo Street?
Just right over here, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not very far. Thanks, Laughing Bean Coffee.
They're awesome. Nice
Can I just get out of here?
Okay. So yeah, we'll have to be nice and
Succinct.
quiet and succinct. Yeah. You said
Turn
you
that
need to
water off.
say.
Am I in the shot or?
Can you turn the water off?
Probably not, maybe in the
I
reflection.
don't, I request not to be in it.
You
I'm
maybe,
shooting
where
that
you're
way.
standing, you may be in the reflection, okay?
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I'm good?
I
Okay, thank
can
you.
do it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure. So, can you just give us your name and spelling so I can get an audio check, please?
Okay. I am Quetzal Tattle, Kwitsel, Tattle, Tatel, and it is January 11th, 2018.
Okay, and what's your title would give you and call you? Like you're obviously a water
Okay.
protector. Or what title would you use?
I claim to be a land defender, unceded Coast Salish.
Okay. Do you mind just looking at Ben when you talk?
Yeah, as we have our conversation, keep your eyes on me. Okay, so we already got your name and spelling. I guess just walk me through the events of the arrest. When did you first realize police were there, and what happened in the following moments?
Okay.
Just wait. Yeah, okay, let's let everybody settle here before we
Okay.
start.
Sorry, I'm just taking my shoes off.
Okay.
He doesn't need any help.
There you go.
Okay, I'll just ask the question. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just walk us through when you first realized police were there and what happened in the ensuing moments.
Okay, so apparently I would suggest it's around 9 p.m. last night. I was at 8099 Shelmont Street defending against any further incursion by police and their large operations. I felt at 8099 the work I was there to do was to raise awareness about water. However, in the previous days to last night's siege, there was an apparent warrant being shouted outside by a police officer. I could hear Uni up top saying, oh my God, they're not doing this. There's 14 police cars that pulled up in such a hurry, and we knew that they were there to try and force open Camp Cloud. So I was still, like I said, from 50-hour-long days of surveying Kinder Morgan and their efforts to expand, as opposed to listening to the people here and our people power. They were going ahead. There was a warrant issued to go into Camp Cloud, apparently they say, for a man and a woman. But inside of Camp Cloud there was only two of us, two women. And they were unidentified. I believe the warrants were exhausted already. They weren't even legit. This all happened over a bylaw. Apparently that was being infracted, parking during our public peace protest at 8099. It's irrelevant when we have rights to situate ourselves. The violence occurred by the start of Chief Licensing Officer of Burnaby.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. It's just we are crunched for time.
Mm-hmm.
I will ask more questions after, but just because this will be the first part of the video that we're able to feed,
Okay.
Can you walk me through when you first realized police were there and what happened? How did that violence unfold?
The police have always been at 8099. On estimate, 50 officers throughout the day either park by way of 5-6 cars at a time. So it's not an unusual situation where you see 5 or 7 cars with 2 officers in each. So it's not unusual when they come. They've been there, and especially in Indigenous people's lives, every day some. So I realized that I was under siege. I was in a stupor waking up when I heard this big and then I shouted, hey, I want out of here, open the door. And I was actually physically trying to open the door, and then I heard a again. And this is all over bylaw infractions. These are also over unceded Coast Salish rights and title. Canada has no treaty with us Coast Salish. We comprise of 54 tribes, not just Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh, but there are 51 other tribes that make us up as a nation. Other than that, we're only Indian reserves labeling ourselves as nations.
So the battering ram hits the door,
Yes.
You're inside, and you're saying, hey, I want to get out of here,
Yeah.
wait, stop.
This is over your bylaw infraction. This is excessive police power. This is police brutality. This is scaring me. I have been through this many times with the RCMP, where they had their long guns, short guns, and their tasers and their dogs out for me and my children. This is not the first time that it's happened to me as an Indigenous woman land defender. It was over fish for most of my life. Now it's over water for the millions. And so what I'm saying is, when I saw those police coming in, I'm saying that they were attacking for no reason. The excessive use of public interest dollars must stop. I've been calling Kinder Morgan cops instead of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And in terms of Jody Raybould Wilson standing up there, growing bigger and bigger.
I hate to keep interrupting you, but for the
still,
purposes of our story, we have to stay focused.
been attacked from the Minister of Justice right down to my person. She's Dawida. She's not even protecting herself from the fish farms. you know, in terms of
I need
this.
I need to slow you down. I'm sorry. I do want to give you the opportunity to share everything that you want to say about this, but we have such a time crunch, and we really want to talk about what happened when they battered that door down, and you're
For
injured.
days they've been inflammatory. For days and days they have been showing their force. They've been it's only in the evenings that they come up in force. And so when they rammed that door, I had some feeling that they might want in sometime, right? I stayed behind the closed doors because the numbers of missing and murdered women in Canada is no joke, and I blame it on the RCMP by denying and negating that we need protections. The Royal Proclamation is there to protect us. They need to employ their own authorities. They come ramming in as if I'm some hardened criminal. Behind closed doors, they were forcing my fingers not once but twice through their marking systems after they captured me. I said, I am not a criminal. I am a repeat defender now of our water. It was Aboriginal and treaty rights in Canada, but now it's over water. It's your water. It's the water of your children's children. Water is life. Water is sacred. That's what this is about. And the police are minimizing our argument to a simple bylaw infraction. And so for the bylaw infraction, they came and they used full military force, saws and hacking and pounding as if this is a war scene. They're misusing public interest dollars, and I suggest Jody Raybould Wilson get that in touch. Be in touch with yourself, feel yourself, and let people know you're still human and
We
not being
really
driven by
wanna
white
know-
genocidal policies.
We really want to know what happened after they battered the door down. They put their hands on you. We want to talk about what happened to you physically.
I
in
tried
those
to
moments.
actually remove myself from Camp Cloud Kinder Morgan surveillance at 8099, and when the door was bashed opened, I was still on the other side of it, narrowly missing getting hit by the things coming through the wall and the door equipment. What do you call a ramming a device? And axes and other sharp things. So after they pulled the door open so violently, I was still on the other side. Let me out of here. When you twiddle your thumbs like that, I don't trust you. So please
I'm
stop
sorry.
twiddling your thumbs.
Sure.
That is a liar to me. So BCTV, no lies. These are facts.
Right.
This is a situation where it's about water, not a bylaw infraction. Public peaceful protest, according to Canadian Constitution Act, is left to the back burner while the criminal code churns us through like we're little things to be turned into meat. So
when the door flew open, did they pull you out of the trailer and put you in handcuffs? Can you just walk me through what exactly the interaction with police when it became physical personally, not just to the trailer?
The moment that the battering ram hit my Camp Cloud that I was left responsible with is the moment that they abused their power excessively. They had no reason to batter that door down like that.
Did
I
they
was
grab you
out of my
afterwards?
sleep. Yes, they did. There were 4 officers, 1 on each foot, and then 2 on my right arm and 1 on my left. I have 1 little bruise here, and I'm sure my back is bruised up from rubbing against the doors. They were trying to pull me out. I wanted out, but I also didn't want to go towards them because they still had their weapons out. And I said, put your weapons down, like, you know, trying to create a safety net for me and my friend who were being brutally manhandled by the white men officers who came in. And once they got me in handcuffs, they wrenched my arms so hard that my shoulders are both sore, and then they were pushing me aggressively and then tugging my arms where the redness is gone down now, but the shackles on my left wrist left me bruised from the inside. The pulling and pushing, I feel like my meat, my flesh has left the bones and that it has to reattach. So the brutality by police powers and police hands is done under public interest dollars. This is a peaceful protest that we do not want to become another Fort McMurray. That's what this whole fight is about, is we want water for 7 generations of people. And police brutality is no way to do it. And shame on Canada and Jody Raybould-Wilson for allowing police brutality towards my person as an Indigenous unceded Coast Salish woman.
You mentioned your injuries, and I understand, did you seek medical attention after you were released from police custody?
Yes, I
if
did.
So, can you just talk to us about that?
I did. I went to the Burnaby Emergency where I spent about 6 hours, and by the time a medical doctor saw me and said, "Why are you in here?" I said, "Police brutality." And that medical doctor's attitude was very caustic and in line with the treatment that the police had given to me. So whether it's the medical system or the policing, the whole system needs educating about us unceded Coast Salish and or other 30 other nations of people, that we have no treaties on these lands, and the promise is if you stay on your reserves you get medical, dental and education. We've done our part, so show us respect, show us that we have done our part and produce the things that you said you were going to produce. 25 cents on the dollar, 1864, pay up. Shelmont's been on my land since January 1st, 1953, pay up. I didn't sell the land to you according to the Well Proclamation. I didn't give it to Canada, and Canada didn't give it to you. There's no treaty. Those are authorities in place. Let's use the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People for this. Are there punitive damages? Yes, there are punitive damages, even from file number 05670. 9.5 years the RCMP brought me and my children through the courts. This is a continuation of the same treatment that they gave to me during the fishing fight. Now it's over water and a stupid bylaw infraction that isn't even an infraction.
What did they charge you with?
Nothing. They didn't charge, they charged me with obstruction. That term obstruction, it's just a nefarious made up, like all British Columbia occupied laws are made up, brought from Britain. So they charged me with obstruction, and I asked for a description of the obstruction, and the officer said, "We knocked on the door and you didn't answer." That's obstruction? What if I was sleeping from being awake for 50 hours before you got there? When you're so tired and in a dead sleep, nothing but the battery of a ram on your door will wake you up. That's what was going on behind closed doors, is because of the intensity of water defense and surveying Kinder Morgan, according to my rights as a Coast Salish woman, according to my authorities as the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, as signed by Canada. I'm exercising authorities that are alive and well,
Did they
and the
put
police are
conditions on
fighting. The conditions are that I need to stay within a block away from 8099 Shelmont. So coming up, I'm going to be hosting a party, probably at 879.99. I'll put a line there for myself, and I'm going to bring my guitar and my PA system, and I'm inviting the world to come and raise awareness about our only aquifer that helps protect many animals and people. So yes, I'm going to go back up to Shelmont, but because I don't have my own police force, I need to watch myself. I don't want to be a missing and murdered Indian woman according to all that's going on in Canada right now. But yes, there are man camps that correlate with the missing and murdered. So these kinds of things that we're doing up there, we have the tiny warrior houses, we have the 1,000 drums that are being made right now while those 1,000 man camps are being delivered, plus we have Camp Cloud. We're organizing ourselves to create awareness for all Canadians and our need for water, that we do not want to be another Fort McMurray. Let's do hemp plants, not tar sands. Let's do tourism, not tar sands. If you're running dry of ideas, Canada, there's more money to be made in the long run using hemp plants, not tar sands. I envision Shell and Chevron, Kinder Morgan, all these terrible polluting pipelines going after our water, extraction, stealing without a treaty. That has to stop now because I have blood running through my veins, unceded. I didn't give it to you. Unsold. I never sold my land to Canada. Unconquered. I'm alive, and there's blood running through my veins with the history and knowledge from my parents, parents, parents. So Canada and British Columbia are occupying my lands, and they cannot continue doing business without the consent and consultation, both of the Indian Act chiefs and me as a hereditary land defender.
Are you willing to be arrested again if if Kinder Morgan is insistent on putting this pipeline through and the government of Canada continues to offer them the support? Are you
Well,
prepared
like
to do
I
that?
said, I am going to make certain that I make a phone call to the RCMP to say, you draw the line and that's how far I'm coming in. I don't have my own police force, but within Canadian occupied laws, so I won't get raped, murdered, or killed like the RCMP. I'm blaming the RCMP for the high numbers of missing and murdered in Canada. Believe you me, they have a lot to do with the missing and murdered. That's why nobody wants an inquiry. Nobody wants an inquiry on the Gustafson Lake story. Nobody wants an inquiry on the Dudley George killing. You know, I feel that Canada's objective is to continue raping and pillaging, and then they put together all these Indian Act chiefs and councillors, making them look like they're nations, but they're really concentration camps. Nowhere in the Americas do they have concentration camps like they do here in North America. We still have Indian reserves. If there's 1,000 people, Jody Raybould Wilson will only put in enough money for 500 people. I'd say fight, fight. Where I even hate, my oldest brother said to me, I care less to see you ever again, dead or alive. That's my oldest brother. He said that to me on February 26, 2017. That's less than a year ago. So these divisive genocidal tactics by the police and the force that they're using, too excessive. I say, come to our table. Come to the table and talk, because you can make a decision in Ottawa all you want, but we still have no treaty among the Coast Salish. And so the battery and assault by the RCMP on my person inside of Camp Cloud, Kinder Morgan, is unacceptable. It's using a bylaw infraction while we're fighting for water, and that is such a waste of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars. There's going to be more money made off of hemp lands and tourism than there is on the dying out oil business.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. but
Divest from Kinder Morgan.
I do have one more question, just in terms of, did you get a diagnosis at the hospital, or did they give you any medicine or anything?
Yes, they gave me painkillers and stress. Like, if you look at my records, look up SoundCloud and Quetzal Tattle's Tale. From Canada's abuse of my person, I lost my fingernails and all of my hair in 2013, but I got it back. And so police force has to stop. Water is life. Water is sacred.
Thank you very much for your time. He's going to probably want to get one or two more shots that'll help us with that. And you said you took journalism yourself, so you probably understand that.
Whoever,
It'll
if
be
there is
roll.
anybody who wants to just stand around with you and just chat, like you were before we got here, I could just get a wide shot of you guys chatting. Is there anybody else who would be willing to be on camera with you?
Yeah,
you can-
Noah, do you wanna?
No, not
He
Noah.
didn't want to be.
But you can.
You guys could just be talking. I don't know if you, whatever's on your computer, or you guys want to talk about what you're going to do next, or.
So the warrant states they are looking for an unidentified female and an unidentified male. 2 women were arrested, so they did not actually fulfill the warrant. And furthermore, if they are looking for unidentified persons, how did they know to arrest me? This all began with a city bylaw parking ticket. I did not obstruct justice and experienced police violence instead. An unjust arrest over a bylaw parking ticket. I was engaged in peaceful protest as an unceded Coast Salish woman in 2018. The community of Burnaby and surrounding neighbors supported us by way of water, firewood, and their physical presence. They brought their children and played music. It was a safe, peaceful Camp Cloud until the RCMP's raid. Still don't know why they were forcing a ram through the door like they did. During the week, the police were being aggressive and inflammatory. In the evening prior to the raid, one police officer, Officer Mota, when asked by a Squamish Nation elder if he was a Squamish Nation member, he replied, "I might be," which is disrespectful. He said to a young woman when she told him he was being antagonistic, to spell antagonistic backwards, not professional at all. So, you know, any media that is covering this information, I realize that there's a wire that comes from the police station to each media outlet. I'm curious as to what time CTV was able to hear from the RCMP when the siege was going to happen, because it just works.
I was there last night, just to let you know, we didn't know about it, and we got called, other media, I guess, was there earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And somehow we had heard a report of it on maybe the radio, so we sent the camera there, and you had already been arrested. So myself and another reporter raced out there, and we talked to a couple of the people, the girl that was on the top of the trailer.
Yes,
And then my reporter phoned and was like saying, "We need to put someone up to speak, telling us what happened." And she got a call back, which was surprising, from the superintendent. Normally it's like a watch commander, or they won't talk, or the media people weren't available. But he called her back and just explained. But we saw the warrant. We shot the warrant. I shot the picture. So we didn't have any heads up just on this. Like, we were responding after the fact. But
so the warrant is null and void, because it's,
it didn't
you know,
say.
they were saying one man and one woman.
Did they say to you?
Unidentified.
Did they ask who you were, your name or anything, or did they?
I don't wanna say
They,
in front of
they
the
didn't
shop.
say we're coming for you, because he said
Can we
they.
get that microphone
Oh,
back,
yes.
please? I'm sorry, I had to hustle
Yeah,
things along.
no,
Yeah,
It's
no,
just we have an
they
hour
also
until
said
we're
that
on
the
the air.
rest went
Gotta get it
without
up.
incident, but we saw the video, and so we put the video out there to let the viewers make their decision whether it was without incident or not. So that's you can go online and
You
see
could just
what
drop
we did.
that down there, and then.
So if you go to CTV, we're CTV, by the way, not BCTV.
Oh, okay.
We're different.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Nice.
whether we're
International.
the good or the bad, or
Bigger,
different, but just so you know, we don't. We try and be balanced, but
Yeah.
anyway, so you can see what was on the air on our website, CTV Vancouver, not global.
Oh,
They're
okay.
different.
Okay.
They're different. So we're gonna run and get this off,
Okay.
so that they can put it on. So it'll be on at
Thank you.
6 o'clock,
Thank you.
and we're
I
gonna
really
hurry up.
appreciate you
And,
taking
This
the
is
time to
great.
talk to
Okay.
us.
Do you
Good
have
luck.
a business
I
card?
don't, I'm a
have
freelancer,
one.
so
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not
I
a
want
permanent
you
full-time
to
employee.
write your numbers down for me.
Sure, I
in
can
the
do that.
event.
Pen here.
Okay, I'll go start feeding. Actually, here you go.
Actually, no, I've got to feed the very specific, because it's too much video for them to
Okay.
go through back at the station.
Okay.
I
You
will write my
write most
information
of it.
On the
down.
back.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, that's, it's,
So when I go back up there, I'll let you know.
No,
That's cute.
Jane's who is
I've
here.
never seen one. Different. Okay.
The police
I have
aren't doing their
books on
jobs.
here.
Really. I call them Kinder Morgan cops.
Okay. Well, hopefully everybody stays safe. And
Yeah, it's pretty crazy seeing people walking their children up the hill through the trees where they always do, and then walking their dogs, but they're not allowed to go up. But Kinder Morgan's allowed to go up.
Yeah, they actually block the roads for the public,
Yeah.
right? But let Kinder Morgan through.
I think the majority of people are for peaceful protesting, and on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Take care.
good luck.
Yeah.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Good luck with your.
How do you think that went?
Well, as any media outlet will go, they'll press what they want, but I really hope that they cover off on the excessive force over a bylaw infraction with an unseated Coast Salish woman. So,
I think it's really good that you push to talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
you know, like,
He kept
it's
trying to bring
important.
it back.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, he's saying now we have to bring it back to, because there's too much there to synthesize into one little story.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's
Misha-
too big of an issue to synthesize into one small story.
Yeah, it's
anyway,
it's
so-
not gonna be a 10-minute story, like, or it can't really be if
Yeah.
you're gonna be effective
Mhm.
in communicating, right? Like,
And I feel like they wanted to just like zero in on like the exact events that happened and on your singular story, and like to remove the community action that was around it, and like the cause of it is so reductionist.
Mhm. So then, while I'm in the police car, the guy was driving so aggressive, like shifting me from one side of the seat to the next. That's how hard. And I was had my hands behind my back, and I was having a hard time staying still.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would come to a light and would like so I hit my head on the back of the seat. That's how aggressive the driver was. And then I started crying. I said, I'm afraid for my life. The missing and murder. And then he just about rear-ended a vehicle. He had to actually really slam on his brakes because he wasn't even concentrating on driving. I said, you're going to hit a car. That's when I raised my voice. The missing and murdered is no joke. I'm scared for my life. And then the woman officer looks at the driver. We're not going to hurt you. In other words, calm the fuck down is what she
Yeah.
looked at him saying. But it was an aggressive drive all the way to the cop shop. Very aggressive. I actually looked at the time, and it was less than 9 minutes from where they took me at 8099 all the way to the police shop. That's how fast he was going. As if it was an urgent crime
Yeah.
criminal in the back of the car. And I kept saying, I'm not a criminal. I'm not. I am not a criminal. You're not to use only the criminal code on me. You have to use section 35. So, anyways, I didn't even mention section 35 in my news. But anyhow, it'll come out.
Little Leafy was trying to take over the show the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.